Start off by making our little L. And what number did you put on the outside? -3. And we already know, so first of all, you see how there's a 2? That means we have 2 factors. So my factors, I'm going to go ahead and write this. We already know one of them is x plus 3. So we can put that one down there. All right, so what are the 3 numbers that I'm going to write across the top? Johan, what 3 numbers did you write across the top? The Marianne, you remember?
2, 5, and -3.
Yep, the 2, the 5, and the -3. So you're only writing down these numbers, the numbers in front. You just bring down that first number, nothing changes. We just drop it on down. And then I'm going to multiply the 2 by -3. I get -6. And then you're adding 5 plus -6. You should get -1. And then you're multiplying -1 times -3. You get a +3. You add and you get 0. So this is your x and this is your constant. So your second factor is 2x minus 1. And those are your 2 factors. Ayana, there's a homework 5 in the front, too, for you. There's a homework 5 in the front. So take out your note packet. And we're going to start lesson 5, which is our last lesson in this chapter. So we're going to go to page 17 in our notes. So there's just a couple of keywords. There's a lot of vocabulary on this page. The main thing to keep in mind is there's a couple of key things on this page. So the first thing is that, put my pen over there. That you might want to underline or circle or highlight is that C is a 0. And what that's saying is when we set that factor equal to 0, that number that we get is going to be one of our solutions. So that's pretty important. Also keep in mind that another word for a 0 is a root or a solution. So they gave an example at the bottom. If we look at this quadratic, x squared plus 3x minus 6, the solutions are -6 and 3. And you can call that a 0. The roots are -6 and 3. But when you write your factors, you always flip the sign. See how it becomes a +6 and a -3. And if you're writing it as an ordered pair, you have to put that 0 after the x. The word multiplicity, that tells you the degree. So I'm just going to put that up here, degree. And I want you to write that if it's any, I think you already, you should kind of know this already. If it's an even degree, it's going to bounce. And if it's odd, it goes through. So we're just going to practice sketching. We're not going to actually graph anything like accurately, but we are going to make a few sketches. So let's go ahead and go to page 18. And we're going to determine the number and type of roots. I am so sorry, y'all. My allergies are kicking in. Okay. First thing we got to do is take out our GCF. And what's the GCF? What can I take out of all three? X. Let's do that. So that's going to give you 5x squared plus 13x plus 6. Go ahead and make your box. And in the top left corner is your 5x squared. There's a homework in the front. So we're going to put that 5x squared here. The 6 goes here. Let's make our x. The number that's going to go on top of the x is 5 times 6, which is 30. And the bottom we have 13. Go ahead and find your two numbers that multiply to be 30 and add to 13. So we need two numbers that multiply to be 30 and add to be 13. Anybody know my numbers? 10 and 3. Okay, this is not going to stay on, so just put that right there. Yep, so it's 10 and 3. So let's go ahead and put our 10x and our 3x. And let's take out our GCFs. Top column can take out a 5x. Second column, you can take out a 3. Top row, a x. Bottom row is just a 2. So your factors are, you have the x that you took out. You have x plus 2. And you have 5x plus 3. So go ahead and set those three equal to 0 to get your solutions. So x equals 0. That's already done. X plus 2 equals 0. 5x plus 3 equals 0. Go ahead and solve and get your answers. So looking at this original function, looking at this term here, I know, because now we're going to do a sketch. I know that it's an odd degree. And it's also positive. So that tells me that the arrows, the left side is going to go down and the right side will go up. So I know I have two negative answers, so I'm just going to put 2 points on the negative. This is a sketch. It's not accurate. We got 2 zeros that are negative, and then we also have 1 here. So I'm just going to come up, go through, go through, go through. And that would be your sketch. Because every single factor had a degree of 1, which is odd, which means it goes through. All right, let's go to the next question. Let's look at the second one. Take out your GCF. This time my GCF would be x squared. So let's go ahead and divide out an x squared. When I take out x squared, I'm left with 9x minus 1. So let's set x squared equal to 0. If you take the square root of 0, you get x is 0. So that's my first solution. And then if I take the 9x minus 1 and set that equal to 0, go ahead and solve it. Bless you.
Thank you.
So you should get 1 over 9. Who got 1 over 9? And it's positive. But here's the thing. This 0 had a multiplicity. Look at this factor. See how it was x squared? So what that tells me is the multiplicity is 2. So it's even, which means it's going to bounce. At the 0, it's not going to go through, it's going to bounce. So I'm going to put 2 points. I'm going to put a point at 0. And then the 1 over 9 is positive, so I'm just going to put it somewhere over here on the positive. Again, looking at this first term, this is an odd degree, and it's positive, which means once the left side is going to go down and the right side goes up. So when I'm sketching this time I'm going to come up, hit the 0, make a U-turn, come back, make another U-turn, and go through. That's the difference. Because of the 0, it bounces. Because of the x squared, that makes it bounce. It doesn't go through at 0. It hits the 0 and bounces back down. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the practice problems. What's the GCF? X and what else? What number can I divide into 3 and 15? Who? 3. Let's go ahead and divide these by 3x. Before I get started, this is a second degree. So this one is even. And it's positive, which means that my sketch, both arrows should be going up. That's what that tells me. All right, so I'm going to take out the 3x. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. X squared divided by x is x. Bring down the plus sign. 3x divided by 3x is 1. Go ahead, set both of these equal to 0. So you should get, for the first one, when you divide by 3, 0 divided by anything is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put that point here, put a point at 0. And then the second one, I'm subtracting the 1 and dividing by 5, so x equals negative 1/5. It's negative, so I'm going to put a point to the left. And then both of these have a degree of 1, which means it's going to go through both. At both spots, it's going to go through. So it's going to come down, go through, make a U-turn, come back up, and go through. And that would be your sketch. All right, so now let's talk about when we have some imaginaries. I think the next one is that. Okay. So remember, anytime you have to take the square root of a negative, it is imaginary. Go ahead and write that in the bubble or in a star. Imaginaries don't touch the x-axis. That's what you need to remember about. Whenever you have a negative that you have to take the square root of, it does not touch the x-axis. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at this first one. GCF would be x squared. So go ahead and divide both of these by x squared. So I have an x squared, and then I'm left with x squared plus 49. Now, if it was x squared minus 49, then that would be x plus 7 and x minus 7. But it's x squared plus 49. So let's go ahead and set both of these equal to 0. If x squared equals 0, that means x equals 0. It's going to bounce because that's the x squared. It's not going to go through. Now let's look at the x squared plus 49. I have to subtract the 49 from both sides. And now I have to take the square root of a negative. So whenever you have a square root of a negative, you take out the -1. We're going to leave the 49. The square root of -1 is I. And what's the square root of 49? 7. So these two, x equals plus and minus 7i. That's my other two solutions. But these don't touch. So we're not going to graph these. So we started off with a 4th degree. And it's even. And it's positive. So what does that tell me about the arrows? What should my arrows do if it's even positive? Somebody other than Chris. What do the arrows do when it's even and positive? Both go up. All right, so let's go ahead and graph it. So the main thing we have to keep in mind is we do have a point here. And then you just need to put a point somewhere above the x-axis because it's positive. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to put it here. Remember, that point does not actually touch the x-axis. So you're going to come down, hit that point, make a U-turn, come down, hit that actual point, make another U-turn, and go up. So the key thing to remember, and you could put this imaginary, the main thing I'm looking for on the test is, do you realize that it's not on the x-axis? So you could have also sketched it another way. You could have also put that point on this side. And that would have been fine. But the main thing is it only touches the x-axis one time. And when it does touch, it bounces. All right. I think we only got 2 more. No, we got 3 more. All right, let's go to our next one. Go ahead, take out your GCF. What do you think our GCF would be? 2, and what else? X squared. Good job. 2x squared. Go ahead and divide both of these by 2x squared. This is another even positive. So that means we got 2 arrows pointing up. Go ahead, take the 128 divided by 2. So you should get 64. So this is very similar to the last one we did. Set both of these equal to 0. This x squared plus 64 is going to be imaginary. So go ahead and look at the example we did above it and try to get your two solutions. So you have to subtract the 64 and then separate out the negative. All right, that's good. All right, let's go ahead and finish it out together. So for this 2x squared equals 0, we will start off by dividing by 2, which will be x squared equals 0. And then we're going to take the square root, which is x equals 0. Now this started off, this is my degree that I started with though for the factor. So that means it's going to bounce here. This is actually going to touch and it's going to bounce. All right, for the second one, what would be my first step, Johan? What would I do first to solve this equation? Subtract the 64. And then I'm going to take the square root. Anytime you take the square root of a negative, you have to break it apart. Like so. So you have to break it apart. So what is the square root of -1? I, and the square root of 64. So that would be plus and minus 8i. So these two don't touch. This is not going to touch. So you're going to sketch this. You can make the same sketch that you made on the last one. The exact same sketch that you made on the last one, you can make on this one. So I'm going to put a point here at 0. And then just put a point anywhere. I'm going to put it over this side. And that would be your sketch. Okay, 1 second here. Let's go to this last one. This will be our last one. Still on page 19. I like this one because this is a little different. We haven't done one like this. Because this is actually the difference of squares. So the first thing I'm going to do is, because it's subtraction, and everything is a perfect square, I'm going to make 2 parentheses. Oh, I thought that was mine. All right. What do you think I'm multiplying to get 4x to the 4th? 2x squared. Thank you. Put that in the front of both. To get 81x squared, that's just going to be a 9x. Because 9x times 9x would be 81x squared. All right, one is positive, one is negative. Now we got to solve both of them. So let's start off with this one. 2x squared plus 9x equals 0. What's my GCF that I can take out? All right, go ahead, take out the x. Set that equal to 0 to get your second solution. So for this first one, we got x equals 0. For the second one, you should have x equals -9/2. All right, so now let's do our second factor. Same thing, except we got a minus. Take out your x again. So I'm taking out the x. And this time I have 2x minus 9 equals 0. So here I get another x equals 0. And then for my second one, I get x equals positive 9/2. So I have 3 answers because we got 0 appearing twice. Because this appears twice, see how we had this 2 times? That means my multiplicity is 2. So it's going to bounce off the 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put a point. Put a point at 0. And nothing is imaginary. So we got actual numbers. So I'm going to put a point on the left side of 0 and a point on the right side of 0. So I'm going to come down. I'm going to go through this one, make a U-turn. But when I hit the 0, what am I going to do? Am I going to go through it or am I going to bounce? Bounce. You're going to bounce because see how we have x equals 0 twice? That means our multiplicity is 2. So it's going to bounce. All right, so it's going to come up, hit that 0, make a U-turn, and then go through the positive 9/2. All right, so again, homework 3 is due today. Oh, no, wait, that was homework 4. Homework 4 is due today. Can everybody, so we should be either working on homework 4 or homework 5. Homework 5, can you write on it that it is due on Wednesday? And you have a test this Friday.